and domesticate different species. Several species have adapted well to it, at the point where some of them are now closely linked to agricultural environment. Sudden change in landscape and practice have disrupted the link between agriculture and biodiversity. So agricultural development have shown bird population decline in Europe and North America. Indeed, bird species are excellent bioindicator, and their decline in an ecosystem therefore indicate the poor state of that ecosystem. More than 60% of farmland bird species show significant decline. And farmland birds are used as indicator of general quality of the habitat. The African continent in general and Cameroon in particular have little information on farmland birds. To overcome this deficiency, this study was undertaken in Mount Oku, one of the Cameroon reference locality and the second highest mount after Mount Cameroon. And mountains are well known to enable exceptional biodiversity, with about half of the world biodiversity hotspot concentrated in this high ecosystem. This study aimed at investigating the status of bird species in Oku farming landscape with the purpose to improve conservation strategy of farmland birds. Specifically, it will determine diversity metric, abundance, species richness, and index channel of bird in Mount Oku farm. We assess the effect of geographical, environmental, and anthropogenic factor on bird diversity metrics. And we determine the distribution pattern of key species of Oku. And at the end, we determine seasonality effect on diversity, abundance, and distribution of farmland birds. As material and method, study was in Oku subdivision, Department of Mbu, Northwest Cameroon. It was in the farmland surrounding Mount Kilum, the community forest with a peak at 3,011 meters. It's one of the high biological diversity and endemism in Cameroon. Kilum Ijim Forest is an important bird area and one of the top 3 African Alliance for Zero Extinction. 6 avian species are endemic to the area. We have the Barnema's River, the Barnema's Turako, the Blondelle wattle ice, the yellow-breasted bubu, the Cameroon sunbird, and Bangwa forest warbler. The locality of Oku presents agro-system strongly dominated by maize and potato crop with a plot of Arabica coffee tree punctuated by eucalyptus wood. As method, survey occur daily in dry and wet season. Circular 50-meter radius plot set 500 meters apart along line transect. The line transect vary in length, but all run 50 meters of forest fringe to the edge of the 14 villages surrounding Kilum Forest. 43 plots were surveyed, an equivalent to 3,000 and 3,300. A 10-minute 3,316 degree scan of the survey plot focused on visual and auditory cue of all bird species present on the ground and the tree. The study design will show by this figure. It's shown by this figure with the forest in green pan and the survey plot in red. As material and method, as material we use the spot watch, the recording sheet, the Garmin GPS, binocular, the sound recorder, the camera, and the Field Guide to Birds of Western Africa by Boro and Deme, 2014 version. The data collected were specifically the geographical factor, the location of sampling station. So we have longitude, latitude, elevation, and distance from forest range. We collect diversity metric, the richness, abundance, and Shannon index derived from the BOT. And also environmental factor, we have abundance of herbaceous of woody plant species, including crop mostly coffee, cassava, and banana, and fruit trees including mango, avocado, guava, orange, cola nut, among others. We also take the percentage of different class of tree. We have the herbs, less than 1 meter, the shrub between 1 and 5 meter, the tree above 5 meter, and we record the presence of stream. For anthropogenic factor, we take the engines of human activity, like the presence of hut, beehive, crop farm, trap, logging, and herding. In addition to taxonomic description, each bird species was characterized with respect to conservation status according to IUCN Red List. The abundance status refer to the occurrence likelihood in the study context, the migratory status, and farmland bird indicator. The data was collected in the file using the data collection sheet, then saved in Microsoft Excel and import to the R for various statistic analysis. The table were used for descriptive analysis of the data and for the interpretation of the result of the generalized linear model with mixed effect. Maps were used to represent the spatial distribution of species with high conservation value. The Shannon index for each species was calculated using R-Vegan package. Testing for the effect of geographical, environmental, and anthropogenic factor and season on farmland metric diversity was conducted using mixed effect linear model adjust using R library LMU4. As result and description of this work, a total of 71 species belonging to 32 families were cited. The most abundant family were Sturnidae with 8 species, Ploceidae with 7 species, Estrellidae with 6 species, and Nectarinidae with 5 species. Single sighting were recorded for 15 families, as against 2 to 4 sightings for the remainder family. This result is low compared to the 237 species of the Jos Plateau in Nigeria, in much larger and more extensive study area than ours. A total of 2,907 individuals was recorded, with a high bird count in wet season. According to the status of bird in farm landscape, and particularly for the migratory status, the large majority of species were resident as again a few migrant species that include tree pipit, which was rare according to the local context, the willow warbler, which was uncommon, the black kite, which was rare, and the yellow-billed kite. And also the African emerald cuckoo, the class cuckoo, and the African pygmy kingfisher, which were all rare. According to the endemicity, 6 bird species are endemic to Oku, but 4 were sighted on Farmland scape. Yellow-breasted bubu, which was fairly common. The Cameroon blue-headed sunbird, which were uncommon. The Banemas weaver, fairly common, and the Bangwa forest warbler, uncommon. The remaining 2 are forest specialists, the Turako banemani, heard calling on a few occasions in the nearby forest, and the Plasteria laticinta. So, for the conservation status, all species are classified list concern except 2 endemic species, the Banemas weaver, which was vulnerable, and the Bangwa forest warbler, which was near threatened. As a farmland bird indicator, we have the common bulbul, which was abundant, the African stonechat, abundant, and the double spur francolin, which was uncommon. 9 species are abundant at Mount Oku, and all are resident. This table shows these 9 species, and we have the blunt crown waxbill, which was the mostly which have the highest bird count with 334 individuals, followed by shop cisticola, the common bulbul, African stonechat, yellow-fronted canary, common waxbill, northern double scholar sunbird, Tony Frank Prina, and the Bangladesh fish weaver with 138 bird count. For the diversity, especially index Shannon calculate, we have in the dry season and the wet season was not really different. The difference between the 2 Shannon index, the overall bird diversity was relatively high with Shannon index of 3.41. The index Shannon was shown because it able to bring out the species richness and species evenness. According to the effect of geographical factor on species abundance, bird count decreased significantly with distance from forest edge, and it also declined significantly at forest fringe in the dry season. The altitude of station significantly decreased with species abundance of birds. Bird abundance significantly increased with distance from forest to human habitat and altitude in rainy season and dry season. Species abundance of bird increased significantly with density of woody plants, especially with the abundance of kola nut tree. The species abundance decreased with human disturbance, like the presence of beehive and annual crop. These results corroborate those of Cordero, West Palt, Rodriguez Estrella, and Janko Whiskey in 2009. None of the survey villages differ significantly from others with respect to the species richness. But for the diversity, it was significantly lower in Kiyon villages and higher in Dikovi villages among the 14 villages that we surveyed. The distance from point count to the forest edge did not have a significant effect on species richness and diversity. There were no significant altitudinal gradient effect on species richness and diversity, which was similar to those of grits and vetas in 2002. Anthropogenic factor like presence of beehive and presence of annual crop do not have significant effect on species richness and Shannon index like on abundance. The season had no significant effect on species richness and diversity of bird, contrary to the abundance. For the particular species recorded in Oku, we note that the abundance of African stoneshad was low around the forest, and it increased significantly with altitude. And also, the abundance of Bangwa forest warbler increased significantly in the rainy season compared to the dry season. Distance from forest to human settlement reduced its abundance. For the Banemas weaver, an endemic species and vulnerable species, its abundance increased with altitudinal gradient and with vegetation cover. So more we have the space is covered, more the Banemas weaver is abundant. According to the distribution pattern for farmland, for farm landscape indicator species, both African stoneshad and common bulbul are uniformly distributed regardless of season. By contrast, the oriole finch has space distribution that changed to uniform in wet season, whereas the double-spur pangolin is widespread in dry season. For endemic species, the yellow-breasted bulbul is near uniformly distributed in raining season, but oddly absent from the fire in dry season, mainly because it migrates to the forest. Indeed, the high mountain forest is preferred habitat. The vulnerable Banemas weaver, specialist of high mountain, is more common in dry season compared to rainy season. And the Bangwa forest warbler is rare in dry season and randomly distributed in rainy season. For the migratory species, the willow warbler is sparsely distributed in dry season, but absent in rainy season, like it is a Palearctic visitor. At the end of this work, we identify 71 species of birds divided into 32 families. We bring out list of 71 birds found in Oku farm landscape with the conservation status, migratory status, and abundance status according to local context. We record 4 dominant families: the Stunidae, Ploceidae, Estrilidae, and Nectarinidae. The farm landscape of Mount Oku are home of 6 endemic species in Cameroon, and particularly 4 in Oku, of which Banemas River are threatened and Bangwa Forest warbler are near threatened. The black-crowned waxbill was the most abundant with a high bird count. The diversity of Oku farmland bird is relatively high according to Shannon Index. The abundance of bird species decreased significantly with geographical and anthropogenic factor, but increased significantly with environmental factor, as the density of woody plant. The global effect of geographical, environmental, and anthropogenic factor on the species richness and the diversity of birds in farmland landscape was not significant. The wet season significantly increased bird abundance in farmland landscape, and there is a clear seasonal pattern in spatial distribution of endemic species and migratory species. On the other hand, the spatial distribution of farmland bird indicator did not reveal any seasonal pattern. This study brings out the importance of neglected Oku farming landscape in the conservation of avian community in the area, and encourage to practice the practice of agroforestry-based system by multiplying the presence of tree and shrub in plantation, such as eucalyptus and citrus sinensis, locally valuable, but also reduce the construction of earth in the farmland. We propose to follow this, to make similar research in the Ijim section of the monk, and also to make a monitoring every 3 years. Unfortunately, the area is not reachable currently due to the war. The supervisor of the work, of this work, was the Dr. Taku Awa and Professor Mayaka Theodore, which was a lecturer of University of Chang. I would like to thank my field assistants, Keming Ernest and Fokum Isaac, the local people of Oku, and also all the lecturers of Animal Biology Department of Chang University, Oku local people, and all different contributors of this work. So, thank you for your time and attention, and I'm open for your questions. Okay.